Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. It's 8 p.m. UK time. It's probably 3 or 4 p.m. in the States in most areas. Um, oh, we've got an echo. I don't know what's going on today. Hang on one second. We've not had this before. Let me try something. There we go. Echo should be gone, hopefully. Anybody hear the echo in chat? Just let me know. Okay. Lisa, can you hear an echo? Hi, Diane. Hi, Amy. Hi, Steph. Hi, everyone. Lula, put in chat. Can you hear an echo or is it gone? Okay. Well, I'm guessing it's gone. Good. Amy, you can hear it. Thanks. But it's going to be a great one tonight. You ladies are very lucky tonight. You've got two gents on the show. So we've got a newer channel tonight, and that's what this show is all about. It's about all of us growing together. So we've got Jacob from Jacobscreations on. So, hi, Jacob. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right. Happy to be here.
It's good to have you on. It's gone. I've got rid of it. I had two windows open at the same time. That was the problem.
That echo.
Although it would have been fun to have just kept on with the echo and seen how that turned out. But there we go. But no, we've got Jacob. You've already got some fans coming on in chat by the looks of things, which is amazing. And do you know what? I've watched a few of your videos and I really enjoy them because it's just to the point. It's just the resin project, and I can tell that you're enjoying what you're doing and being creative. And what's so exciting for me about getting you on is you're probably right at the start of your YouTube journey as well, where I think that's always exciting to see new channels and get your thoughts on how it's going. So I think just to start us off, why don't you tell us about your channel? Give it a shout out so that everybody knows what it is and they can follow you. Let's get straight into it.
All right. My channel is Jacobscreations. I pretty much mainly do resin artwork. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I have to say with it.
Yeah. So we had a quick chat beforehand. So what got you into resin?
So originally what got me into resin was my mom. So my mom at the time when I got into it with her, me and my girlfriend were talking about essentially getting remarried. My relationship's been a funny trip. So like we got together.
They all are, Jacob. They all are, so it's fine.
Right. We had gotten together. We ended up separating for about a year. Then we got back together. We were together for several years. We ended up getting married, and then recently we ended up separating, getting divorced, and then after 3 years got back together again.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we were talking about potentially getting remarried, and we were talking about rings and stuff. And my mom was into resin at the time, and she was making resin rings.
Okay.
So she'd offered to make rings for me and my girlfriend for us to, get remarried with. So she invited us over to her craft room, and we were kind of going through everything. So because she told us, we could pick out and whatever we wanted and kind of, figure out how we wanted our rings designed.
Yeah.
And in the process, like I'm a snooper. So like when it comes to the craft works and that, like I just kind of dove in and I was like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I just found a bunch of stuff, and I was looking at my mom. I was like, oh, what if you did this? Or what if you did that? And my mom's like looking at me funny, and she's like, I want you to come back tomorrow. And because like I pitched her this idea for a design for a pendant. And she's like, I want you to come back tomorrow and show me exactly what you're talking about. And
Okay.
I did. I went back over there the next day, and she showed me kind of like how to work with the UV resin and everything and what to do on it, and how to put it on the tape and fill in the corners and everything so there's no bubbles. She basically just gave me a quick crash course on how to do it, and I designed this pendant, and she was just in awe of it. And that's kind of how I got into it. Is after that she sent me home with a care package of a bunch of different pendant pieces and UV resin and was like, go create some stuff.
Yeah. And you did,
So
clearly.
yeah, for sure.
So the question is, that original pendant then, was that a gift for somebody, or what did you do with that one?
I was just looking for it before the live. I'm not 100% sure what happened with that one. I thought I had it in with my other pendants, but I can't seem to find it at the moment. I was able to find the second one. She had me try out the chameleon flakes in a
Okay.
pendant, and this is kind of what I did for it.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So like I don't know if you can see the shimmer in the camera there with the chameleon flakes.
Yeah.
But it was mainly these dragon pieces that I was working with. So the first one I did it in the octagon pendant, or the square one that's kind of
Okay.
looks like a diamond when it hangs. And I did the dragon piece in it. And then out of the dragon piece, I found these little diamond shaped gemstones. And I just kind of lined them up out of the dragon's mouth to look like it was spitting flames.
Cool.
So, but unfortunately, I have no idea where that pendant went.
Do you know what? That's one thing I love about UV, though. It is very versatile. And the great thing
Yeah.
is obviously it's cured in like 5 minutes. So I'll tell you a funny story. So I've just started seeing a lady recently, and she had like this infinity chain, which I think was nickel because it was starting to go green, but it meant a lot because one of her sons got it for her. So I said, well, if you trust me, and it could go horribly wrong because it is resin, then I think I can do something with it. And I don't know if you can see, but
wow.
That was the original pendant. So I chopped off the little bits, and then I put some tiny Turner flakes on the back of the resin, and then made it into a heart-shaped pendant. So that will hopefully last her forever now.
Yeah, that is beautiful. What an awesome idea, Henry.
And it should stop it tarnishing, is what I thought. So, and that was just, luckily, I've got my workshop here. She came round and she was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. It's going green. And I was like, well, technically, it's going green because it's oxidizing with the air, and nickel tends to do that if it's not like sterling silver. So let me have a look at it, and I'll see what I can do. She trusted me with it, and touch wood, I think it came out really well. So I think it would have been the end of the relationship if it didn't go well and there was bubbles in it, but it was a risk.
Hey, it worked out in the long run, it looks like. Did she love it?
I think so. She's probably actually in chat, but she won't say anything. She doesn't like to know that I know that she's on the live. She's done that a few times in the past couple of lives, and then she's telling me everything what happened in the live. I'm like, I know you watch. It's okay. But there we go. So, but that's just something where, because I've got the stuff in and I've got like my workshop at the back of me, if somebody comes to you with a problem, that's what I love about resin, is you can often fix things as well and make things, I suppose, better and make them last longer.
Right. Yeah, so, especially if it has like gemstones or like diamonds or anything in it. Now you don't have to worry about them popping out or falling out or anything.
And with that cabochon, it actually magnified it a little bit as well, which I really liked. So it made it almost bigger. Oh, there we go. Right. I told you she'd be in chat. Yeah, she does love it, and she doesn't take it off apparently. So there we go.
That's awesome.
I've got my own little stalker on the lives now, but there we go. And I'll get told off for that later. But you said to me as well, first of all, I've got to tell you that Lisa's telling me to tell you that she loved the sun catcher that you did.
The sun catcher.
You know what you hang outside for the sun to come in through it, apparently. Lisa, are you sure you've got the right channel? Maybe it wasn't you then. Maybe she's mixing you up with somebody else. But she's saying, tell him that I love the sun catcher that he did. So I don't know if he did anything that looked a bit like stained glass or something like that. She's sure, she says now. She's in chat.
I don't remember.
Oh, and then she thinks it was a turtle.
Oh, that was the wind chimes.
Ah, the wind chimes. See, Lisa, there's a big difference between wind chimes and sun catchers. But there we go. Who's my stalker? Apparently Laura's my stalker now in chat, not Shelley, but there we go.
Well, I'll go back and correct that. I did 2 turtles. The first turtle I did was just an experiment. I was trying to make like a rainbow turtle. and I
Okay.
did it with the clear, and then I put the alcohol ink on top of it. So I did do that one, but I also just recently did that the wind chime one where I use like umpteen different molds and just kind of use the design of the mold themselves to piece together the wind chime.
Yeah.
So those are really the only two turtle videos or related to turtle videos that I can recall that I've done.
And your mum's telling me to make sure that you know that she's here as well, Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Jacob's mum. There we go. But you're getting some great support already. We've already got 32 in this chat. So to say you're a new channel, a lot of people know you, which is great for exposure, I think. And I think great for growth as well. So I think I had a look at some of your stats. And I think you're already up
Hold
to,
on,
is it? Oh,
you kind of paused and cut out on me there.
oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, the great thing about your channel is obviously a lot of people already know about you, and you've only been going a few months, really, haven't you? I think on YouTube.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think what are you? Is it 118 subscribers you've got now?
yeah, I'm at 118 subscribers. I think it was 34 videos. Oh, I'm at 41 videos now.
Okay.
So it was actually kind of a thing. When with the neon marble coaster holder, and then I did the green marble with the red, white, and blue.
Okay.
Um, when I did those videos, I actually made them and posted them and started my YouTube channel like 3 days before I had my knee surgery.
Right.
So it was like I made them, and then it was like I was down. I couldn't walk around or get around my house really that well for it was a total of 6 weeks before I was able to walk on full weight bearing on my leg.
Right.
But I managed to, about 5.5 weeks in, I finally managed to be able to get up to my craft room.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got back into it, and that's where I started with the the real journey began for me.
Yeah.
Um, so the first video I did with the neon marble coaster, my mom had asked me to make a set of those shaker coasters, the coffee cup ones, for one of my aunts.
Okay.
So I had made it, and like whenever my mom would ask me to do stuff like that, whenever I would start it, I would take pictures of it and send it to her just to make sure, like, is this what you were looking for? Like, does this look how you envisioned? Or is this okay? Like, is this satisfactory?
Yeah.
And she had seen the marble effect that came out with my coffee cups that I was
Okay.
making for my aunt, and she couldn't figure out how I did it. She wanted to know what I did because according to her, there was people out there that have been trying to create that effect and could never get it to work
Yeah.
because the colors would all just kind of blend together and sync in with each other. So she was asking me how I did it. So I decided to record a video and show the process of how I did it. But it was like 8 minutes long. So rather than trying to cut it down and send it to her, I was like, well, I'm just going to put it up on YouTube, give her the link, and she can see how I did it.
Yeah.
And then from there, she had told Marva about it, and Marva saw it. And the next thing you know, here I am making YouTube videos.
Well, I actually saw. I think I saw the piece that you made for Marva as well. Was it like a Oh, what do you call it? It's like a cup with like dragon horns or something
I look
coming
like
out.
a little utensil holder. I made one for myself.
Yeah. 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 One of those.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Um, so the reason I did that was just kind of because Marva gave me my first shout out.
Okay.
So she's given me a lot of advice and everything. She told me that, I'm free to go and talk to her, ask her questions if I ever have any. So I just kind of as a thank you for what she's done for me and my channel so far, I wanted to make her something.
Yeah.
So I was going through and I was like, me personally, since I started with all of this, I finding something nice enough to hold like all my tools and everything in was an issue. Like I started off with just these little glass candle holder jar things.
Yeah.
And it was like as I was getting more and more tools, they just weren't working well enough. So I found the mold for the utensil holder. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make her this. And then I found the mold for the little dragon claw bits. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to make claws on it and like turn it into a 3D thing. And then, it just one thing turned into another in my shopping list for it. And I literally put the whole piece together in my head before
Yeah.
I even got any of the part of the molds or anything in for it.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what I love about resin the most is, and it's in more than one way. Like it's easy to envision how you want something to look, and it's awesome when it turns out exactly how you envisioned it.
Very rare,
But
but
then at the
yes.
same time, even when it doesn't go exactly how you envisioned it to go, it can still leave you in awe and
Yeah.
still turn out to be a very beautiful piece.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the resin work as much as I do, is because it's a craft that has a mind of its own and does what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
So
And
you can plan as much as you want on how a project's gonna go, but you never really know how it's gonna turn out till it's done.
no, and I think that's part of the fun, though, for me. And I've said this a few times. Every time you demold, you don't know what you're going to get. It's like Christmas
Right,
morning every time you demold. Sometimes
right,
they work, sometimes they don't work out the way you want, but you still love the effect it's made. Um,
right.
and that's where I think you've got to keep experimenting with different things, because
Oh, for
you
sure,
never know what you're going to get.
for sure. That was like my in my opinion, my biggest catastrophe piece was the first attempt that I did at the angel skull.
Okay.
What happened with that one was I did the deep pour resin, but as soon as I finished pouring it, I put it straight into the curing machine.
Okay.
And that's how I think that's what caused the cracking and everything that happened with it. And like I was extremely like you could hear it in my voice and everything. I was really upset when I pulled that out of the mold and saw all of it,
Yeah.
everything that happened and all the cracks and everything. But at the same point, I was thinking to myself, like, if you could get that effect around the entire skull,
It would
like,
look cool.
I don't know, use like glue, hot glue gun or something to make those little cracks inside there and have it around the whole skull, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it happened with just that one spot, it kind of didn't work out. But
But that's part of the fun as well. And what I love to keep my failures. And I know we all had a good laugh and a joke last week with Meth Bear, because it makes you realize that things do go bad
yep,
sometimes.
yep,
Um, but then I've sort of, I suppose, redeemed myself with this. And there's a video coming out soon where I did an amazing lion and it really worked. And I mean, really worked. It's one of my favorite pieces now. But I love putting them side by side and going, this is how bad it can get, and this is actually how good it gets. So, but it's the beauty of it. We all make mistakes. We're all human, and the resin will do what it wants. And when you experiment with mixing different things in as well, you never know
right.
what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh, that one. The worst one I did with that was I tried experimenting with putting um like the gel water beads, like
Yeah.
Orbeez. I tried putting swelled up Orbeez in resin and
What
it did
happened?
not
Just out of
work.
curiosity.
It so around the spots where the Orbeez were like touching the side of the mold, the resin didn't get in there, so there was like you could feel the Orbeez through it, and then like they were popping out and stuff, like you just rub your hand over it and the Orbeez would pop out of the resin. There was a
Wow.
bunch of other ones that from the heat of the resin curing, like the beads just kind of fell apart like a smashed rock in
Yeah.
pieces. Like that's literally how they would break apart. But the biggest thing that happened with it was a lot of the Orbeez they shriveled up and dried up, like all the
Yeah.
moisture got out of them. So then you were just left with a bunch of open spaces, and it just I tried it in the snail jar mold,
Yeah.
and it did not work out. It didn't.
But at least you know now for next time. And it's
Right.
like this week I've been experimenting a bit with candy, as you'd call it in the States, or sweets as we call it here. I don't know if you can get nerds in the States, the sweets.
Yeah, but we got nerds here.
Look at them.
Oh wow.
And they came out perfect. And I just love the colours.
That is awesome. And that's straight up
But,
candy.
yeah, that's straight up candy or sweets, as you call it. A normal one-to-one resin. And I just think it gave a really cool effect.
Right.
So, and that was just fun, you know. It was just, and I did do a frog in it, but I'm not going to show that because that's going to be my Froggy Friday this week.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it again, that's part of the fun. And some people, I've had some comments on some of the videos where I put like noodles in resin or something like that. You shouldn't put food in resin, but do you know what? Why not? It's my resin, and if I want to have fun with it, I'm going to have fun.
It gets secured in there, so it's not exposed to air. It's not really going to rot or anything. It's preserved.
As long as it's not wet. I think if it's wet, then there's a risk. Right. So if you use something like, I don't know, fruit, where it's really 70% water, it'll probably still rot, which probably wouldn't look cool in resin.
I was just browsing through YouTube one day, and I found a video. I don't remember the guy's name who did it, but he bought a McDonald's cheeseburger and took it apart and cleaned it up and made a mold out of it and then made a clear cheeseburger for McDonald's.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw somebody put a cheeseburger meal in resin. I think that was Nick Zametti. And then he turned it into a bowl. But I didn't see the mold one. That'd be quite cool, actually.
There we go. I don't know if that's me or...
No, I think you're back. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Natalie's saying that she's put jelly beans, Red Hots, and M&Ms in resin, and they've all been fine. So,
right.
So, talk to me about. Obviously, we've gone through your worst piece. What's your favorite piece? What you've done?
Ooh. Honestly, I would have to say at this point, it's kind of a toss-up between 3 items.
Okay.
There is the utensil holder I made for Marva.
Yeah.
My demon skull.
Yeah.
And then one of my latest additions is my Firefox.
Oh wow! Okay.
That I did. I don't know if you saw the video on this one. Yeah, huh?
I've got the same mold. My daughter used to be into resin and then she got bored of it. So I got all of her molds and that's one of them, but I haven't tried it yet because it's got like 9 tails on it, hasn't it? Or something.
Yeah. So when I bought this, my original idea when I bought the mold was I wanted to do something along the lines of fire in the tail. Yeah. You know, because that's like the whole legend of the 9-tailed fox is, you know, the fiery tail and everything. So I wanted to try that out. Yeah. But I also wanted to do the body in its own color. So the way I did this was I used my hot glue gun to seal off the base a little bit. And then I laid it down flat on its side like this and poured my resin in to cure in only the body. And then I took the glue off and poured clear in. And then I used some syringes with my colored resin in there and just kind of swirled it all in there in different designs and was like, you know what, I'm not going to, I wasn't expecting any kind of specific outcome. I was like, I'm just going to do this. And however it turns out is however it's going to turn out. And it came out to be absolutely amazing.
That looks really cool, actually.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see like all the
strands. Yeah, I can see the different colors
and everything, but the best one with this is when it's lit up under a UV lamp.
Yeah.
Because it literally glows, and the glow it has, it literally looks like it is on fire. So this is just for that aspect. This is probably one of my other favorite pieces that I've done.
Yeah, that would be interesting to try with Petrie as well, just with some white sinker in to see what happens. Because that's the thing I've noticed with like Petrie, it very much depends on the mold. Whatever mold you use, you're going to get a different effect with Petrie. And it's like, unless it's a small, tiny little jewelry one, you won't get the standard Petrie effect. But I love it sometimes when you get the really long spores that come out and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're getting
Yeah,
Petra's in chat as well. We're getting quite a few in chat. We're up to 36. So you've got a following, Jacob, already. So
awesome.
it's good. So tell me about that first video. How did you feel when you were making it? Or was it literally the one that you made for Marva? Was it show her how you did something?
Well, it was kind of a combination of Marva and my mom because my mom was bragging about the effect and how it turned out to Marva. She was sending her pictures and stuff, and Marva was kind of interested in seeing how I made it happen too. So that's why ultimately I decided just to throw it up on YouTube was because that way I didn't have to like, everyone could see it, or if they wanted to share it with other people, it was there.
Yeah.
But when I was making it, I was extremely nervous. When I first got the idea of starting a YouTube channel, my biggest thing was I didn't want the sound of my voice on there. So
Nobody
that's
ever does.
why those first couple videos that I made, I just did music in the background and I just subtitled everything.
Yeah.
But we all know what it's like editing our videos, how much time because it's how time consuming it is.
Yeah.
And it was extremely time consuming trying to sit there and pause every few seconds to make sure that it was where I wanted to say something, or what I wanted to have pop up in text was where I wanted it to pop up,
Yeah.
figure out what I wanted to say, and then make sure that it was on the screen long enough to be read. And it was just a nightmare trying to do it that way, so I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah.
So I think it was when I did my first unboxing video after I was done recovering from my surgery and I made it up to my craft room that I was like, I'm just going to start talking.
Yeah.
So, but that's been kind of a trip in and of itself. I've had a lot of issues. Like when I first started doing my recordings, I was just using my phone. I had
Yeah.
no external microphone or anything. And then like I was getting a lot of comments that it was hard to hear me. So I invested in a streaming microphone set from Temu.
Okay.
And then that was a nightmare in and of itself because I had a hard time adjusting the volume and everything.
Right.
And the biggest one that I've noticed lately that I try my best to not have is me breathing.
Yeah. I get comments about that sometimes as well. So it's like sometimes if I haven't had a drink before I do a video, I'll like click a little bit apparently, and I'll just go throughout the video, and people are
Well,
like, "What's that clicking sound?" I'm like, "I'm human, you know. I clearly haven't had enough to drink before doing the video." But you've got to learn that nobody usually likes the sound of their own voice, but
right.
everybody else probably doesn't mind it. And you've just had your mum comment you've got a lovely voice, and other people are putting in chat that you have as well. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think any of us, when we're putting ourselves out there on a video, doesn't matter whether it's the way we look, it doesn't matter whether it's our voice, we're a little bit self-conscious about it. And
Right.
actually, it bothers us more than it bothers anybody else. And I think that's
For
the
sure.
thing. You've just
For
got to
sure.
just go with it, you know. And most people, I think, are supportive, and that's the biggest thing about the community.
Right. It's definitely gotten a lot better. Once I started watching your lives and everything, and this is a huge shout out to you, I bought the same microphone that
Oh,
you use.
the same one, yeah,
Bought the set. Yeah, I bought it. I got it on my little tag right here.
yeah. But they're
But
great, you
even
know,
just
because you
using
just wear
that
them.
was, yeah, even using that though was like an adjustment because when I'm sitting here at my desk, like I find I put my head down and like I'm focused.
Yeah,
So I found that my face was like right next to my microphone, so it was literally like it was like I was breathing through my nostrils straight into the microphone and you could hear it.
yeah,
So I've kind of adjusted it now. Rather than wearing it on my person when I'm doing my recordings, I'll put it like, because it's magnetic, I'll put it on the stand of my tripod that I
yeah.
use to hold my phone and everything, and I just kind of leave it there.
Whatever works for you. But another tip on that, do you know, if you're wearing it like this, what I found, I use CapCut for most of my editing. And I think even on the free version, they've got the audio section to edit. And all you can do is literally, you click two buttons. So one's voice enhancer and one is noise reducer, and it sounds perfect. So again, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it might be worth you looking at. But again, if that works for you, do what works for you.
I don't use CapCut for my editing. I actually purchased the software for doing my editing.
Okay.
It's called Wondershare Filmora.
That's the one I used to use before CapCut, interestingly.
Oh, really? But yeah, I had many years ago, once upon a time, I play League of Legends online.
Okay.
And I had gotten the idea I was going to attempt to like make my own montage videos of like cool plays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like playing around with the free version of Filmora. I had also once upon a time I was working for a friend, and he was doing a restaurant, and I was like making advertisement videos for him here and there too.
Yeah.
So when I started doing this and doing the YouTube channel, I was like, well, the only editing software I'm familiar with or know anything about is Wondershare.
Yeah.
So I got into it, but then I don't know if it's just because the program has grown over the years. But it was like they had the conditions where you have the watermark on your video and all this other stuff, and
Yeah.
like all of the transitions and stuff you had to have a subscription for and everything. So I went ahead and said screw it, and I invested in all that, and that's how I have my videos.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I do like Filmora. That's the first one I started out with. There's a couple of features that I get on CapCut that you don't get on Filmora. And what I found is every time I updated or there were new transitions and things added, Filmora was a little bit sneaky when I had it, and they kept upping the price every few months. And I was like, I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for a set amount each month, and that's what put me off. And then I had a comment because of the music I use. So I use some stock music off Filmora. And one of the subscribers accused me of copying Michelle from Glitz and Glitter's channel because it was the same music. And I was like, oh, God, I'm not having this. And then I ended up just swapping to CapCut in the end. But I actually like it. I think any editing software is good for you as long as you enjoy using it, because you're going to be spending hours using it. So you've got to get used to it and enjoy it. And it's like, some people use the CapCut on the phone and stuff like that. I can't. Oh, am I back? Are you there?
Yep, we're back.
Okay. Now, I was just saying that.
I'm going to switch from my house internet to my phone.
Okay. Do you want to try that now?
As long as it's not going to screw anything up, yeah, I can try.
It should be okay. Worst case scenario, come back in with the link. So we've got Frozen Jacob at the minute. He's just swapping internet. He will be back. Are you back?
There we go. Yeah, I'm back.
Better.
Okay.
But no,
hopefully that doesn't happen anymore.
Let's hope not. But with editing software, it's whatever you're comfortable with, because I know some people that do it all on the phone. That scares the life out of me. I can't do it on my phone.
That would drive me insane, trying to like grab the little bar to like move it around and stuff
and
like that.
And then put a transition in and no. Give me a laptop any day.
And my phone, I even have the stylus one. So like I have a stylus in my phone that I could pop out and do it with, and that would still drive me nuts.
Yeah. Everyone's saying that Marilyn is over here with a gigantic smile on her face.
I just saw that.
Proud mum moment, I think. And I know you said you said your daughter was going to be back in about half an hour if we overrun. I think that's one of the things I love about YouTube. Every video I put on, I know at some point my daughters can go back and watch them, you know? So it's almost like you're on there for life. And let's say something happened to me and they had children, they can still know who I am through my videos. It's amazing.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's a cool aspect that a lot of people that do like streaming or recording videos and stuff don't really think about, is like, you know, you're on there for life now.
Unless you delete your channel, but
well, true.
And the great thing is your videos now could blow up in 6 months' time. You don't know, and that's what's so exciting. At any point, one of your videos could just blow up. And I've seen lots of like YouTubers where they've talked about their journey, and then out of the
Right.
blue one day, one of their old videos just blows up and the whole channel explodes. So
Right.
again, anything's possible, you know?
Yeah, I think my most watched video right now, oddly enough, is the one where my making the demon skull a friend, where I
Yeah.
tried doing my first angel skull. I don't know if that was because of the algorithm and everything, but like that video itself is my highest viewed video. It has over 340 views.
Wow.
My next highest one is the first one that Marva did a shout out for me after and that was at like I think around 147 views.
Yeah.
But since then, like after what happened with the angel skull and everything, my self-esteem kind of took a dip with the resining or the resin work and all that. And just in combination of everything else that was going on, I decided to just take a break for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of still in that setting a little bit. There's kind of been a lot going on just between me, my physical therapy with the recovering from my knee surgery has been kind of intensifying more.
Yeah.
I'm moving around. I pretty much spent the last almost year of my life just sitting in a chair, not really moving around, not doing anything because of my knee injury.
Yeah.
So now that it's fixed and I can get around more, I'm becoming more active. But the downfall with it is my body's not used to it.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely stiff and sore, which makes moving around and everything a lot more tiresome and
Mm-hmm.
a lot more painful.
Yeah.
So I've just been kind of, in one of my recent videos, I talked about, like people who do things like baking or anything like that. If you're not in the mood to do it and you try doing it, chances are it's not going to work out or it's
Yep.
not going
Yep.
to be fun. And that's a lot of my opinion where things like burnout and stuff like that happen.
Yep.
So I'm trying right now to think and figure out exactly how I want to pursue my YouTube channel because I've come to the realization that trying to post a new video every single day with everything going on in my life is extremely difficult
Yep.
and slightly unrealistic. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm trying to see how my weeks are playing out and figure out when is a good time to actually sit down and work on projects and,
Yep.
record my videos and stuff.
You've got to make
So
sure
at
that
this
it fits in
point,
with your life as well, because that's the thing.
right,
And don't get me wrong, I'm quite fortunate where um, I manage to do 2 videos a week and the live a week, and that's pretty much it. Occasionally, I'll get a Froggy Friday in there as well, but I
right,
do that as well as working full time, as well as looking after the girls, as well as having a life outside of YouTube, because that is important. And obviously, I've
right,
just started dating again, so that's important so that she gets some time as well. But it's important to have that life outside of it. Otherwise, I think that's where you burn out. And I was speaking to Steph, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying it the other day, because I was speaking to her in the Discord and she was having a bit of a rough week. And I just said, look, step away. YouTube's going to be there when you come back, and that's the
right,
beauty of it. You don't need to get a video out every day. You don't need to get one out a week even. It helps the algorithm. Of course it does. But do you know what? The algorithm will just pick up where it left off when you start again. So
right,
the worst thing would be is if you put too much in at the start, burn yourself out, get fed up of it, and don't want to do it anymore. So you're better off just doing
right,
one a week.
right. I'm pretty much at the point now where I think I'm going to try and do at least 2 videos a week. And I'll probably end up doing them like, 2 days in a row. I'll post videos. And that's primarily because I've noticed that I have a tendency to oftentimes make way too much resin when I'm working on my main project.
Yeah,
So I always end up with at least some other small piece, to do on the side.
yeah.
So
That's what I use my drip molds for. So I've always got
yeah,
a biggish drip mold. Any spare just goes in there, and then I get to demold
right.
that every 3 or 4 projects, which is pretty cool. Schools work really well for that. I'm just making sure we're not missing any chats, but we're already getting some questions, a few questions coming through. So just to remind anybody in chat, and it's nice to have you here as well, Petra and Claire. Claire's Crafty Corner. You've probably heard of Claire as well, I would imagine. She's in chat. So hello, Claire. But any questions whatsoever in chat, put them in caps lock so we don't miss them. So Lula's asking, before resin, were you creative, Jacob?
Yeah, so the name Jacob's Creations actually is something that I came up with when I was a teenager. So my creativity stems back from my child all the way into my childhood. And it comes again primarily from my mom. So when I was a little tot, my mom was into doing all kinds of crafts and stuff.
Yeah.
The biggest one that I can remember from my childhood is she did wood burning.
Okay.
So like she had gotten stuff together and she ended up opening her own little shop. And like I grew up a mama's boy. I was always attached to her hip. You know, everything she did, I wanted to do it with her. So when it came to doing the arts and crafts and stuff, I was always right there. You know,
Yeah.
my mom, when she was working on her projects and that, she'd go out to her shop, listening to her music, and she'd be on her primary area of the desk. And then I'd go out there with her in another area, and she'd give me either like a little piece of wood to wood burn on or something to paint, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So at some point when she had her shop open, I got into like the little plastic pony beads, you know what I'm
Okay.
talking about? So I got into making like the little critters with those, where like you weave
Okay.
them together and like you make like little Pikachus and stuff like that, just to
Yeah.
like put on clips on your backpacks. Like I forget what the actual term is for them, but I got into doing those. Um, and my mom allowed me to make a bunch of them up. She helped me create the name Jacob's Creations. She helped me design a little logo, and we put them in little packages. And she had a little corner of her shop that she put them up in for sale.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
good.
that
Selling
that
pieces
right
from a
there.
young
The
age.
whole right, the whole pony beads thing, and like those things that I created, and like just doing jewelry with that in general is actually how I got the name Jacob's Creations.
Okay.
So from there, I have kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything. I tried getting into drawing or um, like coloring with pastels, stuff like that. And I've always been felt that I was decent with it, but I never felt like I was good with it, kind of
Yeah.
deal. So I've dabbled in a lot of different things, but I've always had that creative spark in me, I guess you could say. But I just never stuck with any of it because I didn't feel like any of it was good enough. Or
Yeah.
the biggest one, it was hard to my most difficult thing is trying to create what I envision in my head, which is
Yeah.
why I've fallen in love with resin, is because as much as you may want it to look a specific way, it's not necessarily going to come out that way, but it's still going to come out, in my opinion, beautiful.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think some of the biggest mistakes are actually still really nice pieces, and that's great. And it's
Right.
interesting. Marilyn's put in there about wood burning. It's fun but tedious and requires lots of patience. I
Yeah.
agree with that 100%. I dabbled with wood burning, and I use it sometimes in my carvings to highlight things. But I'll show you something. This is normally in my bathroom, but this is probably the extent of my wood burning. And you probably can't see on camera because it's backwards, but this normally goes in my bathroom. Ladies, you can probably tell what it says, but it's just a get naked sign, and it's some
Let me
spare
see.
wood. That's all it was. But I love wood burning. But when you get detailed, it's quite difficult to get the shading right.
So I tried doing the wood burning thing, but again, I was never as good at it as my mom was, so
Yeah.
I kind of just never stuck with it. But this is one of the pieces that I actually did myself.
Oh wow, that's lovely.
So, but in comparison, when I think, because my mom actually did this exact same piece
Yeah.
and hers was way better. But my
Yeah.
mom was also doing it for an extremely like a long time, like she was doing the wood burning for, I want to say, 10 to 15 years
Wow.
that I can remember that she did it straight. So yeah, she was into it for a long time. She had a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. So
It's all about the temperature. And the thing that really got me with wood burning was every wood burns differently.
yep.
So you'll think you've got it at the right heat setting and everything. But my favorite piece, what I've done, is actually my living room table. Don't know if you can see that, but it's like a giraffe mandala.
Oh wow, that's pretty.
And I just basically upcycled a coffee table, what I bought on Gumtree over here, which you'd probably call Craigslist, I think, in the States. Sanded it all down, burnt that design in, and then this was probably my favorite wood burnt piece,
Oh, that is gorgeous.
which was a tiger that I just did for somebody as a gift.
I always loved when my mom did the tigers, especially when she did the white tiger pieces. Those were always my favorite.
I love big cats, and if you watched my first video, it's a comedy gold video, so you need to watch it. But it shows you a couple of my LED lamps that I used to do. So I used to just get some acrylic, and I used to etch in designs, and then put some LED lights underneath. And my favorite one, I've still got it somewhere, is a leopard, and it is just stunning. I can't. It took me 3 days, but the fact that
Right.
just by scratching it into some plastic, it was amazing. So he's a talented toad. Thanks, Luna. I hope you're not calling me a toad now. Oh dear, I'm gonna have to get some new mods, I think. But there we go. So your channel, then, what are you hoping for it? Where do you want it to go? What do you want it to do?
So this is actually kind of a discussion I've had with my mom as of recent. Um, I haven't quite figured that out yet, in all honesty. Like, I don't really at this point in time have any major ambitions with doing my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And that may be strange to hear, but like when I started it, I didn't expect it to really, I didn't expect to get followers. I didn't expect to really have a lot of subscribers. It is cool that I have gotten it, and like I am extremely grateful and thankful to everyone who has contributed to, leaving comments or subscribing to my channel or following me, giving me advice, welcoming me to the community and everything. I am stoked that what
Yeah.
has happened with my channel so far has happened. But ultimately, like, I don't have any severe agenda. Like, I'm not doing this in the hopes to, get monetized and, start making money off of it. I don't have any real ambitions towards that. For me, this is just, it's a hobby that I enjoy doing, and I wanted to just be able to share that experience, with people that might be interested in my work or like what I do, or might be able to learn something from something that I do. So that's kind of ultimately what my goal for the time being is. I
Yeah.
mean, that's obviously that's very well could change in the future here, depending on how things go. But at
Well,
this point in time, I don't have a whole lot that I'm hoping for.
well, do you know what? The key thing is, and I think most of us start it, like you've said, because we enjoy the hobby and we want to teach others how to do it. And that's part of the exciting thing for me is I can have no views on my videos. But if I get one comment from somebody that just says, I've learned something from that video, it makes me feel good about it, you know?
Right. But
So,
yeah, I
and
mean, it would be, the dream would be to get to that point, but in my mind at this point in time, that is still kind of just a dream
I think you'll
to
get
me.
there. You know, you've got people in chat support already. And I think as long as you keep posting, you'll keep growing. It's as simple as that. And I think after this show as well, you're going to get a lot of love. I think there's going to be a lot more subscribers, and hopefully it will
Right.
just give you a bit of a boost. So apparently Marilyn sent a piece of her wood burning to you, so to show us.
Oh, to show you guys, I'm not quite sure how to do that. Um, I hope I didn't just log out of the thing here.
You may have.
Okay.
Might be easier to get it on your phone and show it like that. So. There's that
Well, I'm
leopard, by
using
the
my
way.
phone. Actually, let me try this. I have.
Oh, I think we froze. Are we frozen? Oh, we're back. Yeah, I can see you.
Sorry. I'm trying to see if the image will pull because I'm using my phone for the video, the live right now.
Ah, right. Okay.
So I'm trying to see if it'll pull up on my phone link on my computer. I don't think I have my phone set up on this laptop.
Well, it's okay. What we can do is I can post a picture of it in Discord or something afterwards so you can show me. But there's that LED leopard I told you about.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it took
Yeah, I
3 days.
love UV stuff.
And that was just some LED lights, some acrylic, and then each one of those lines is scratched in.
That is awesome.
So, that's how I started. You know, I started with those because I saw one and I was like, I can do that. And literally, I just got a few pieces of acrylic, some LED lights, and started literally scratching it to see what designs I would get.
Right.
And then I went from that into wood and wood carving, which I still do when I get a chance, but not as much. And then I fell in love with resin, and then that's it. I've not looked back.
Right.
Oh, your mum says it's beautiful, so I've got your mum's approval on that piece, so that's good. So tell me about in resin then. Is there something that you've not done yet that you want to try that you haven't tried?
Tables.
Okay. As in the
would
big
love
tables or smaller ones?
either like a table or a countertop, like just something like I want to do a big piece.
Yeah.
So something that I've seen a lot of people do is like where they take the two giant pieces of wood that are like separated and then
River
like
tables.
it's like the river table type deal. I would love to make one of those.
Yeah. It just costs so much money. So would I.
It does.
The
It
wood
does.
alone, I priced one up because I was going to make one. And the wood would have cost me about £200 for the wood that I wanted. And it wasn't anything special. It was just two slabs. Well, one slab cut in half, basically. But then the resin would have cost me £300 for a standard dining room table. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't afford that right now. But by the end of this summer, I promised myself I'm going to do a river coffee table. So that's a bit smaller, but it's still going to cost me a bit. But I'm like you. I watch some of the bigger channels where they do those big tables, and I'm like, I need those in my house so that I've got my own furniture that I've made.
Right.
And
See,
it
another
shows you.
one that I got an idea of doing is I would love to make like I haven't found the stuff to do it yet. So I got the idea of making like a kind of like a shadow box kind of
Okay.
coffee table. Basically like a 3D thing where there's like again it's not filled in with resin, but it's just like a tabletop on it. Or I might even fill it in, but I want it to be like, thick. And I kind of wanted to either do like a scene in there or just have it filled in. But the biggest thing that I want to do with it is I want to include fiber optic cables in it
Yeah.
and do fiber optic lighting for it. But the problem that I've run into is everything that I found for fiber optics to do something of that size or that level is all for like doing a vehicle.
Yeah.
And so all the plugins for it, I haven't found a setup that has an actual plug. Everything
Okay.
that I found is like a cigarette lighter, like you plug it into the cigarette lighter in your car, and that's how it gets power.
You
So
could potentially rewire it into a plug. So I've seen some people do that.
that would be cool for my own personal use, but if I ever wanted to sell something like that,
Yeah.
not so much because liability.
Yeah. No, not to sell.
But but at least just something for myself, yeah, that would be an option. But that's just something that I would have to look into researching and whatnot. And make sure that
I'm
even
sure
just for
there'd be a
me that I
way
get the
because
correct
you can
thing.
even get battery powered fiber optics now.
Right.
And if you could get one of those with a rechargeable battery pack with a USB cord or something, then that would be
Right.
perfect. But I bet you could.
Yeah. I mean, I have the idea and the design in my mind on how I would love to do it. I just haven't come across, in the few times that I've searched for it, I haven't come across exactly what I'm looking for to do the project itself. So that
Yeah,
one's still kind of in the hopes and dreams of one day accomplishing kind of deal.
yeah. And again, with fiber optics, something I've thought of doing before is actually just putting them into the resin so that just the tips of them are sticking out on the other side
Mhm.
and having like a galaxy effect with the different fiber
Right.
optic lights going through it.
Right. I had an idea of doing something like that. So like after I did that attempt at the galaxy sphere that I had made,
Yeah,
um, because I was looking at it and the way the bottom part kind of domed in that little bit, I was
yeah.
sitting there looking at it, and the first thing that popped into my head was the Death Star.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I got the idea, and I was talking to my mom about it. The only thing that I wasn't sure on is, if I could get hit with any kind of copyright infringement for making it. But I got the idea of essentially taking the sphere and pouring it clear and then using like my acrylic markers or paint to paint it
Yeah.
in to look like the Death Star, and then just kind of scratch little bits off
Okay.
so that light would shine through in those spaces, and then put it on a light block so that it would be like a light up Death Star.
Or the other thing you could try, but you'd have to do it in different stages, is colored resin and then the clear resin. And then as long as there was a clear bit on the base that went through it, it would still all light up. But that would be more
Mhm.
complicated, I think.
Right. So it was just kind of like a random thought that I had, because like I was thinking the biggest thing was like the indent for where the little dish space or whatever is where the laser shoots out of the Death Star.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the biggest thing with that was like I would take one of the smaller globe ones and stick it in there so that the resin would, indent with that.
yeah.
But
No, that
I
makes
haven't
sense.
put I had the idea. I haven't put a whole lot of planning or anything into actually making it a reality yet.
Yeah.
But it's just another thing that kind of I roll around in the back of my mind. I might attempt it someday, I might not.
Well,
So
that's the fun part, isn't it? You get an idea, and then it's how you make that idea reality. And
yeah,
that's what I used to love about wood carving, and it's what I love about resin. Is you give me a block of wood, I'll go, oh, that looks like this, and it's like some of it. I might decide that a standard log looks like an elephant or a dolphin, and then you've just got to
mhm,
start chipping away until it creates that thing. And it's the same with
yeah,
resin as well. I think is if you get a picture in your head, it's just about figuring out how to actually make it happen, really.
right.
I'm just having a look. Steph's partner's saying tractor beam, apparently, for the Death Star. I don't know. Is it a tractor beam or is it a laser? I'm not sure. I'm not a big Star Wars guru. I always wind somebody up in my office because he's a massive Star Wars fan. And I always go like this to him. And it's like, live long and prosper. Because that's Star Trek rather than Star Wars. And it just winds him up.
Would wind me up too. Not gonna lie.
But no, just to warn everybody in chat, we have gone up to an hour. You wouldn't believe it, but it's already been an hour. So any questions that you've got for Jacob or me, if you've got any questions, put them in chat now. This is your, I suppose, 5-minute warning. Yes, Steph. But yeah, any more questions from anybody? Oh, we've not got many questions tonight. It's interesting.
There's a lot of conversation in the chat though.
Oh, there always is. They always talk about something completely different to what's been talked about on the actual live itself. It's hilarious when you go back and you read through it and you think, wow, what's that about? It's nothing to do with it.
Right.
Uh, there we go. Annie is saying that you're an absolute delight and she's loved meeting you and your mum, which is lovely.
Well, thank you guys. No, Mom, I do not regret starting my resin.
There you go. Claire's going to check out your channel as well. So there we go. So you don't regret it then, Resin?
Definitely not.
Do you regret how much it costs?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to getting more of the actual resin itself. Sometimes.
What I've just, and this is after what, probably 10 months of focusing on resin, I've finally got to the point where my adverts are just about covering what I spend on resin, which is amazing for me. So now it's technically not costing me any money. It is if I go crazy and spend a lot of money, but I was spending on my channel, I probably spent 150 to 200 pounds a month on molds, on pigments, on equipment. And now I've finally got to the point 9 months on where that's roughly what I get out of my ad revenue. So keep at it and eventually it'll pay for itself.
Right. I guess ultimately that would be the real goal that I would set for myself, is to be able to just make enough money doing what I'm doing just to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because right now it does get rough sometimes because we don't really have any external income outside of, what the resin. So whatever I spend on doing my resin is just spent on doing my resin.
Yeah, I get it. And you know what? Most of my spare money has gone on it because there's always something else that you've got in your shopping cart that you want to buy, and you've just got to wait until you've got enough cash to do it. Laura's saying you need to make sure you join our Discord as well. So I'll send you the link afterwards.
Okay.
And that's always fun. Highland Home. Yeah, I did spend a lot of money with Create and Bloom this last month, but again, I like the pigment paste, so that's fine. We've got another question coming through from Susie. Where do you get your mojo ideas?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. A lot of times I just I look at things and it's like I just piece it together like a puzzle. It was like how I said when I was doing, designing like Marva's utensil holder. I literally designed it together just by the different things that I found, shopping with it.
Yeah.
So like I found the pigment paste and I was like, oh, that'd be a really cool color to make her piece with. And then like I said, I found those dragon claws and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to put those on it. So I just kind of look at what I have around me and just kind of let it come together on its own. Like, oh, it'd be really cool if I did this with this.
Yeah.
There are quite a few ideas that I have gotten from watching other people. Like I did my video on making my 3D keychains, pendants.
Okay.
So the initial inspiration I got for doing those came from watching Daniel Cooper doing his videos. And I just kind of did my own little adaptation where I used his idea of turning them into a 3D piece, and then I just kind of added my own flourish to it instead of going the route he was going with it. Yeah, my inspiration for trying out Orbeez and resin, I think I tried doing that after I watched I don't remember what it was, but I know it was after watching Julie at oh my gosh, the name's
Pouring your heart out.
Yeah, pouring your heart out. I'd watched her do something with one of her frogs, and I was like, I want to try Orbeez in it. So it's
Nick's done them as well,
really
Claire's saying. So Nick Zametti's done them as well.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say where my ideas come from because they just kind of come from looking at things around me. And it's like, experimenting, like, would this work or would that be cool? So Yeah, I kind of get a little bit of inspiration from all kinds of different things.
Yeah, and never stop experimenting. That's what I would say. And you know what? I love getting new molds, and it's like even doing stupid things like putting candy in coasters. You know, it's
Right,
just fun to see what's going to happen, and I think
right,
that's the key. And it's like I had a unicorn mold, and I've never poured a unicorn, but my 6-year-old daughter loves unicorns, and I just thought I'll get the mold and see what I can do with it. And you can't really see it on camera, but there's 8 different iridescent powders in there, and I managed to
right.
keep the horn clear, and I think it came out
That's
really
awesome.
cool. So
I made
that's
that
actually,
same mold with one for my daughter.
oh really? Okay,
Yeah,
but yeah,
my mom had gotten the mold and she asked me to make it for my daughter for her birthday for her.
yeah.
So
Oh,
that's a
Jules
fun
is
mold
saying
to work for.
noodle frog as well. I think that's been one of my weirder makes. Where I don't know if you saw
Noodle
it,
frog.
but I put super noodles in a frog.
Okay.
Oh, dog sick frog as well. That wasn't real dog sick. That was grass, but it just looked like. Do you know when a dog eats too much grass and
Yeah,
vomits it back
yeah.
up? That's what it looked
Say
like.
no
But
more. Say no more.
it was fun. It was fun, you
That's
know.
like also. I don't know if you saw that video I did where I made that glow in the dark bowl with the night sky.
I didn't see that one, if I'm being honest, but I
No,
will. I'll go back and watch it.
I got it full of a bunch of stuff here, but I made this one, and I actually got the idea for this one from you,
For me,
from that you did your Galaxy Bowl, where you were
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that it seemed like the resin cured in the bottom of it, so you did the Galaxy in it.
yeah,
So like I made this drip tray bowl, and I was looking at it, and I just did it with the yellow with the glow in the dark sand, and I was like, I don't like this how it is. Like it's
yeah.
not extravagant enough for me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, try what Andy did and make the Galaxy Bowl, and that's how I got the idea for this.
That's cool. I think I've
So
still got that actually. Where is my Galaxy Bowl? I'm presuming it was this one. That
yep,
one?
yep.
Yeah. And I love that. And that was just different layers with the iridescent powders.
hmm
So,
That's
but
also how I started doing the sphere. Was
yeah,
I was trying to essentially do the same thing you did with it, but it didn't quite work out as well. So I just ended up making the little cabochon pieces to throw in there for the planets and stuff.
still looks really cool.
Yeah. The only thing that I would have done different with this, and I should have realized it, is I should have done the black last, because
Yeah.
I wanted to be angled this way. So the
Okay.
black should have been on the bottom, but I poured the black first because it was extra from
Right.
another piece that I was doing. And I didn't really think before I started this piece. I was just like, oh, that's a cool idea, and just jump straight into it. So
Oh, apparently watching that one made Susie do her Galaxy Butterfly. I've not seen it, Susie, so I'm gonna have to look at that one as well. But do you know that's the beauty of YouTube is we can all inspire each other. Jedrek24 as well. People are saying in comments, he's amazing. Some of the things he comes up with.
I don't think I've heard of him yet. I'll have to check that
Oh,
one
look him
out.
up. He's pretty big. If you just put Resin Experiment, I think he's the first one that comes up, Jedrick24. But he's got some amazing pieces. And I think he does like 3D printing as well to get certain effects. Lula, I'll send you a link to his channel, but you'll love it. Trust me. I'm just seeing in chat, there's a few that haven't heard of him, but it's Jedrek24, I think. And literally, he's probably got 100 different videos on little things that he's done. He does like dioramas as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's probably going to get more subscribers now after this. But that's good.
Yeah,
You know, we all
definitely get one from me.
Yeah, Susie's saying that she'll post it in Discord as well, which is great. But no, I think unless anyone's got any more questions, I think we can pretty much call it there if everyone's happy with that. But before we do me a favor and just give your channel a shout out, because I want everybody in chat, everybody that watches this afterwards, to subscribe to you and help you keep growing, and hopefully subscribe to me as well. That would be nice, but mainly to help your channel grow.
I'm Jacob from Jacob's Creations, and I look forward to continuing to share the adventure with everyone.
Brilliant. And is that your daughter that you said would come just at the end?
Yeah. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello.
This is Andy.
Hi, Andy. My name's Cynthia. I have the equation about how to make everything from Walmart.
Wow. Okay.
Wednesday.
Okay, I will deal with this.
Nice to meet you.
A little bit. Okay. All right. Say bye.
Bye. Okay, I'll say too.
Petra, just to answer that question, she's just asked if we both mainly pour into molds, or do we also want to make resin paintings in the future, and why?
I mean, I would have to look at what a resin painting is. I've never heard that one before.
I think she might mean like
but...
canvas pours with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen people doing the canvas pours. I've never really thought of getting into it, but I think it'd be a cool thing to try out for sure. But yeah, for the most part right now, I mainly do resin pours.
And Petra, that's one of mine as well. So I like doing the canvas pours as well. But what I did is I UV'd a mold on top of it to make it more 3D,
yep.
Which came out really cool. But I started with canvas pours before I went into molds, but I like doing both. I think they both give you a different effect.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn from Dawn's Crafty Corner saying that she's going to be shouting out both channels on her next video this evening. Thank you for that, Dawn.
Awesome. Appreciate it for sure.
Oh, resin paintings on wood. I've not tried that yet, Petra, but that's an interesting idea. And I like to carve as well. So maybe carve the design in the wood and then fill it with resin is what I'm thinking with that.
Oh, that would be a neat idea.
But yeah, maybe. But that's my problem. I've got so many ideas and not enough time.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. But no, I think you know what? It's been a brilliant live. It's been great to have you on as well, and great to finally meet you as well. I think everybody in chat agrees. Keep doing what you're doing because you've got everybody in this community support. And I think in a few weeks, your channel will be at least double the subscribers you're at. Genuinely.
That would be awesome. I know I was super excited when I hit my first 100. Like I was counting it down to, I was like, oh, I'm at 94. I was like, and then when it got, push came to shove, I was like sitting around there for 2 days. I was like, I'm only 2 away. I'm only 2 away. And then I got there. I was like, awesome. So yeah.
But again, that's what this is about, though. It's about getting to know the person behind the hands. Because even in your videos, we just see the hands. That's it. And I think this is where people get to know you and want to support you more as well by subscribing if they don't already know you. So, and obviously, it doesn't get more real than your daughter popping in. So, hello, either. Does she know that her grandma's in chat?
No. But yeah, Mimir's in the chat.
But yeah, getting that first 100 is amazing. But there's a few people in chat saying that they've already subbed, so you may have gone up a few already. But to anybody that's watching this back, look it up. I think it's, if you struggle to find it under Jacob's Creations, which I did the first time I searched, you've got to search, is it at Jacob Hansen 306?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's at Jacob Hansen 306.
No, I think it's actually at Hansen Jacob. It's reversed.
Is it? Oh.
Because it's the beginning of my email. It starts out with Hansen Jacob.
I'm going to check at the same time.
I'm trying to find it. Oh, no, it is Jacob Hansen.
Yeah, yes, Jacob Hansen 306. I thought I'd done the thumbnail wrong then. I was like, what have I done? But no.
No, it throws me off because like my email that I use for it is Hansen Jacob.
Don't say the whole thing. Don't say the whole thing.
Mixed up and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at Jacob Hansen 306 for Jacob's Creations. Another good way you can find me is looking for that bright neon fidget spinner in the corner for my picture.
Yeah, which is on the thumbnail as well of this, so you'll probably see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant having you on. Everybody wants to continue supporting you, so let's make sure that we keep doing that. And do you know what would be good in a few months' time to sort of catch up again, see where your channel's at, and maybe we could do a bit of a collab.
Yeah,
where we'll maybe both do a coaster one week or something like that, and do it as a bit of a challenge and see what happens.
I was talking to Marva at one point about starting a collaboration for Turtle Tuesday.
Yeah, I like a turtle.
But I haven't really gotten too much more into that because I wanted to build up a little bit of a stock on turtle-related molds. So
yeah, there's lots of them out there.
yeah,
some better than others is what I found. I think Lula from Nerd Goblin Art, she did the giant turtle one that you've probably seen one of Julie Cutz's ones, and it's like nearly 30 ounces of resin, I think, but came out stunning. But just imagine if that went wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be a bit like this. But there we go. I think he should get his own channel now. I think Meth Bear. I think everybody likes him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Everyone's saying it's been a great ride.
They have a Turtle Tuesday collab.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, make sure you join the Discord because all the collabs are in there as well. So you can get involved, and do that. Or do something else. Do a Skull Saturday or something like that, There's so many different things we could do.
Lots of ideas.
Yeah. But no, it's brilliant. So thank you for everyone for being here in chat as well. And if you're watching it back, subscribe to both. And as always, we'll be on next week as well. I'm just going to tell you who the guest is next week as well. I've got a few more people actually asking to sign up for a live. And we're fully booked now till the end of August with different channels coming on. So that in itself, I think, is brilliant that there's so many different artists now that are coming on.
And was it only 5 months ago that you started doing the lives?
Yeah, roughly.
Or have you been doing it longer?
No, 5 months roughly. So, and the first few ones, it was a nightmare because I didn't know where I was going to get the guests from. Literally, from 1 week to the next. It was the day before I got somebody confirmed.
That's awesome.
So next week, in fact, she's in chat. So we have got, there we go. It's Steph from Highland Homemade Crafts. So again, a newer channel who really needs people's support as well. And she's great. So again, looking forward to that. Same time next week, 8 o'clock on Tuesday. But apart from that, thank you, Jacob, for being here. Thanks everyone in chat. And you're going to keep growing. Just keep at it. Trust me. I think you're going to be one to watch. And bye to your daughter as well in the background.
Say bye again.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for having me
One more question. Oh. This is for your daughter. How proud are you of your daddy? Oh.
Are you going to answer?
The creation is good for Dad.
She said the creation is good for Dad.
Good. Well, there we go. And she'll get to show all of her friends your videos as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's been brilliant having you on. Thanks everybody again. And we'll see you same time next week. See you all later.
All right. See you.